Good day, and thank you for tuning in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. For all of our new listeners and viewers who are tuning in for the very first time, I'm Pastor Pope, and thank you for allowing us to come into your viewing environment. We are here with you every Monday through Friday from 12:30 p.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, broadcasting live from the FijiWater.com sponsored studio, where you can discuss careers, finances, entrepreneurship. You can discuss marriage, divorce, raising children, blending families. You can discuss dating and relationships. Whatever's in your heart, whatever's on your mind, God is concerned about that which concerns you. And that is the reason that we are here with you every Monday through Friday from 12:30 p.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. I want to say to all of our listeners and viewers, it's an exciting time. As you know, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast is brought to you daily by Fiji Water, Earth's finest water. You may already know that Fiji water comes from Fiji. However, did you know that it is created by nature? It is untouched by man. It starts as a tropical rainfall which slowly filters through layers of volcanic rock, where the water collects in a natural, sustainable artesian aquifer, where it is bottled right at the source, free from human contact until you unscrew the blue cap. Fiji Water, Earth's finest water, will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery, and you'll save money at FijiWater.com. And for those of you who continue giving on the Give segment of our app to support the broadcast, and those of you that have made a weekly or monthly commitment to support the broadcast by giving on the contribution pages of our websites at NewLifeMinistriesInternational.com and NewLifeInternationalCDC.com, and those of you who use the QR code or the link provided on Facebook, we thank all of you for your commitment and for your support as we fulfill our commitment to God to be here for you in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. So I have to tell you, I was waiting for information to come in regarding a confirmation of a promotion that we're going to be running. And when we go live, I just want everyone to know this, when we go live on our Zoom broadcast, at some point in the coming weeks and months, we're going to be running promotions that are going to give away a case of Fiji Water, Earth's finest water. And so I was looking to find out if that has come in, and I want everyone to be ready because we're going to be doing some things that will be working in conjunction with our internet radio station, WKAP Faith Empowerment Radio at WKAPfaith.com. So I am encouraging all of you to make certain that you stay connected, stay tuned in, stay connected. And as you know, we play music on our internet radio station 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, music that will encourage you, empower you, and inspire you to become the best version of ourselves that we can possibly become. And be mindful of this. As I said, we're going to be running promos that we will be giving away to one of our listeners and viewers during each promo. We will be running promos that we will give away a case of Fiji water. So I'm going to say to all of our listeners and viewers, I'm excited about this because we continue moving forward, but you're going to need to be tuned in to our internet radio station, WKAPfaith.com, and the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. That way you know when we announce the winner of the promotion, and then we will, when we're off the air, we will take your information so that we can have a case of Fiji Water, Earth's finest water, shipped and delivered right to your front door. Remember, we are Facebook Live, we are YouTube Live at Daily Divine Direction, and we want you to continue encouraging your family, friends, coworkers, and colleagues to tune in daily. They don't want to miss this because as we move forward, some great things are happening. Now, I want to remind everyone, just trying to bring you up to speed on all of the announcements, but this Thursday, with us in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast, will be BeccaTheDietitian.com. Rebecca Booth, a licensed and registered dietitian and nutritionist will be with us on this Thursday. We are going to be attempting to overcome the technology challenges of our Zoom broadcast through the Daily Divine Direction. As you know, we had technical failure last week, so Becca has consented to set aside this Thursday to be with us so that we can begin the year making certain that everyone is whole in their body, mind, and spirit. So remember, be with us this coming Thursday in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. BeccaTheDietitian.com will be with us right here in 3D. I'm going to address a communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that your father does not approve of your boyfriend. However, since you do not live at home, he does not express his disapproval or tell you the reason that he disapproves. Let me begin with this first and foremost. Think about it from this perspective, and that is, you've got to ask yourself why your father does not approve. You've got to ask yourself that question. Since he doesn't express his disapproval to you and give you the reasons why, you've got to ask yourself why. Why is it possible that your father does not approve of your boyfriend? So first of all, you've got to remember this. You didn't say the man you're dating, you said the boyfriend. So that implies that he still has boyish tendencies. You have to remember your father wants the right man for you. So let me break this down. And this is for all of our female population of listeners and viewers. Every father wants for his daughter a man who is better than himself. Now, I need to say that again because I don't think we realize that. We sometimes think we only want our daughters to have someone who's just like us. And sure, if we're doing the right things, we would like them to have some of the tendencies that we have. You know, the way your father treats your mother, that's a good analogy. If he treats her well, if he loves your mother, his wife, adores her and does whatever he can to make her life pleasant, to make her quality of life a great quality of life. Sure, we want whoever our daughters are going to be taken by, we want them to have those types of tendencies. But deep down inside, deep down in the heart of men, we want our daughters, remember, every generation is supposed to be better than the generation before us. So we want our daughters to marry someone who is the next step up from ourselves, who that when we hand our daughters off to that man, that he will be able to take her to the next level in life. That's what every father wants, truly wants. So you, first of all, have to understand that when you introduced him to your father as your boyfriend, that really said you don't see him as the man your father is. He's still a boy. He still has boyish tendencies. So that's one problem. Then the problem becomes that you are dating someone who your father takes a look at and says, I don't think he's going to be better for my daughter than I have been. That's a reason that a father doesn't care for someone that you're dating. If they're not going to be able to take you to the next level in life, he's not really comfortable handing you off to them. So you have to take that into consideration also. So you have to ask yourself, why is it that he doesn't like this person that you're dating? Because there is a reason. He didn't just wake up and see him show up at his door and say, I don't like him. There is something about the presentation. So that's the other component. When you, ladies, when you're dating someone, presentation is important. So the first time they meet your father, they need to present themselves in a way that your father understands that he has the potential to take you to the next level. He has the potential to get you there. And now over the course of your relationship, your father may see things that he recognizes, because we've been men all of our lives. And he may see some characteristics that you can't see in a man that says, some folks call them red flags, but I would just say tendencies to not be that into you, not be all that he can be. He may see that he doesn't really have the potential to take you to the next level. And so, for that reason, it may not be that he doesn't like him as a person, he just doesn't approve of him as a mate for you. The good news, you have a father in your life who has tried to be the best father he can be. So that's, you've had the opportunity to see what that looks like. And now you have to be able to build on that. So, approval is a very interesting factor. Now, if your father didn't feel, and this is for all the ladies, if your father doesn't feel that he approves of someone because he doesn't want them being better than you, then he's got his own issues. But most of us as men, most of us as fathers, that's really what, deep down in our heart, what we really want for our daughters. Because we don't want to leave this world and have to worry about what our daughters are going to become, what is going to become of their life. We want to know that when we hand them off, they're going to be well cared for, they're going to be loved, they're going to be supported, and going to be able to become the best version of themselves that they can possibly become. That's the goal. And then you've got to think about it in these terms. If he's not expressing his disapproval, or the reason why, he has a reason for not doing that. And part of that reason is that he may be trying to let you learn the dynamics, navigate the dynamics of life so that you're prepared in the future. Because every relationship's not going to last. The relationship you're in right now is not going to last forever. It's not going to lead to marriage. So he didn't really need to approve of them. You just have to remember that because you have a father who's present in your life, he's going to watch every man you bring before him, he's going to observe them. He's going to determine in his own heart and mind if that's the one that can take care of his daughter and take his daughter to the next level. Because that's what we all want as fathers. This segment of the broadcast is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. So if you're not currently a T-Mobile customer, you may call or text on the T-Mobile call or text line at 267-992-1424. We will move you into our queue so that you may become a T-Mobile customer and experience America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. Taxes and fees are included in your bill, and if you auto pay by attaching a credit card to your account, you will receive a discount on your monthly bill. At T-Mobile, America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that you have not had you've had problems having healthy relationships. The type of men who want you don't want, and the type of man you want doesn't want you. Okay, so let's change the language. the type of man you want doesn't want you in your current state of mind. Not you personally. There's nothing wrong with you. Remember, by God, you're beautifully and wonderfully made. So the outer shell is perfected. But the inner shell, look, God doesn't look at the outer appearance. He looks at the heart. He's already made you beautifully and wonderfully. The issue becomes, have you prepared yourself for the type of man you want? So I want to walk everyone down this path, all of our listeners and viewers, because this can be for men also, and I'm going to tell you why in a moment. For all of the men out there, here's what you got to remember. It takes preparation for us to have successful relationships, to have healthy relationships. It takes preparation. So the question you have to ask yourself, have you prepared yourself for the type of man you want? Or for us men, have you prepared yourself for the type of woman you want? It's real easy to look on the outside, but God judges the heart, and we should also. So we have to examine the heart. It can't just be the appearance, because that can be a form of godliness, but the appearance is not the final product. So think about this. Have we prepared ourselves? Have we prepared ourselves in our body, mind, and spirit? Have we prepared ourselves to have a healthy relationship? Have we renewed our mind? Have we, watch this, so I mentioned this in yesterday's sermon because this was this was really the basis for it. Have we asked God to create in us a clean heart? That means we got to change our heart, change our mind. And then when we change our heart, from the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So we've got to look at what we do in word and deed. We got to look at, have we prepared ourselves? So you want a specific type of man. What have you done to prepare yourself for that type of man? So you say you want a man who is godly, then that means you have to prepare yourself to let a man lead. And part of the problem in our understanding of that is that we think that the only way a man can lead is by checking the boxes of what society has taught us. But the reality is that a man can lead with the right heart. If he has a heart for God, he can lead with the right heart. And everything else will line up with that. Everything else will line up with that heart. So remember, I've often used this in sermons. The Bible says that David was a man after God's own heart. Not because David didn't have some issues, not because David didn't have some shortcomings, but because he had a heart for God. He wanted to walk in the path of righteousness. So, a man wanting to do the right thing, waking up every day and making a decision to do the right thing, he can build on that. He can begin to do things that are going to allow him not only to be successful, but then to maximize that success and allow his family to experience the fullness of God. So you have to ask yourself, what have you done to prepare yourself pardon me, for that type of man? What have you done to prepare your state of mind to be in a relationship with that type of man? So you know how to have a relationship with men who are in the world, but they're not healthy relationships because they're in the world. We all have been, for those of us who haven't been holy all our lives, we all have been in the world, but now we don't have to be of the world. So that means we've learned what the world has to offer, and now we know what God has to offer, and we know that what God has to offer is so much better. So now we're trying to follow that lead. So men are preparing ourselves. Are women preparing themselves for the right man? You know, what's your attitude like? What's your behavior like? What's your level of commitment to allowing a man to lead? Which are you dedicated to building a great quality of life and building a great family? All of those things are important. So we have to really say to ourselves, each and every one of us, have we prepared ourselves for what we really want? So you want a very specific type of man. What have you done to prepare yourself for that? So I'm going to encourage you to do this. This is one of the things that I share with a lot of single women. And that is, go to Proverbs 31. It is the chapter of the virtuous woman. And so you don't get caught up. I love the King James Version. I read the King James Version. I study from the King James Version. I preach from the King James Version. I teach from the King James Version. However, sometimes you need to amplify it. You need something that's going to amplify so that you can see it in modern day times. Now, I will always break that down. But since you don't live in our area, go to get an amplified version of the Bible, or go online and read the chapter, Proverbs 31, from an amplified version. It will tell you what a virtuous woman is. If you try to follow that, if you just try to follow that, you will find that you're in the process of preparing yourself for the type of man you want. And then, ladies, I'm not letting the men off the hook, because men, what we have to do is read the entire Holy Bible. We have to set aside year by year and read the entire Holy Bible. That will allow us to build great families and build a great quality of life. See, the man has a different responsibility. The man, I'm not suggesting women shouldn't read the entire Holy Bible. I'm saying to you, men, if you're going to read it, men need to read it too. So we have a special responsibility to create healthy relationships. We have a special responsibility to prepare ourselves to build a great family. We have a special responsibility to prepare ourselves to build a great quality of life for our family and with our family. That's the goal. So men, we have a responsibility. However, since this communication came in from one of our female listeners and viewers, I'm addressing that by saying you've got to prepare yourself for the type of man that you desire. He'll find you when the time is right. He'll find you when your state of mind is right. He'll find you when your heart is right. But he will find you, because God has him searching for you now, because he knows he who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor of the Lord. This segment of the broadcast is brought to you by Charles Tyrwhitt, located in London, the UK. They also have stores in New York, Chicago, Washington, D.C., and at the King of Prussia Mall in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. So if you're in any of those areas, stop in at their retail stores. They have everything a man could possibly need. If you're not in any of those areas, you can order from Charles Tyrwhitt at ctshirts.com. And The White Company, located in London, the UK. They also have a store on Fifth Avenue in New York. So if you're in New York, stop in at their retail store. They have everything you could possibly need. Home goods, clothing for men, women, and children. And if you're not in New York, you can order from The White Company at thewhitecompany.com. They too will ship and deliver right to your front door in an appropriate period of time. I'm going to go back and, first of all, I'm going to address a another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers. And in doing so, I'm going to go back to how we finished the week last week, and I'm going to address the concerns of one of our listeners and viewers. But one of our listeners and viewers indicated that you are concerned about your financial future, and you want to know how should you invest to build for the future. And you also wanted to know, is it too late to try something different? Is it too late? Listen, first and foremost, it is never too late unless you do nothing. That's the first thing. If you do nothing, it's too late. And if it's not already, it will be. I'm not your financial advisor, but I'm going to say this to you. It's important to do something different, and particularly in the culture we're in today, where you have 1% of the population that is ultra wealthy, you have 5% of the population, 5 to 10% of the population that is considered to be, well, you have 5% of the population that's considered to be wealthy. You have 10% of the population that's considered to be in the middle class. So now what you're talking about is 16% of the population is covered, and that leaves 84% of the population that is living paycheck to paycheck or living in poverty. That's a big block of statistic. Now, here's what you got to realize. That unless you were born with a silver spoon in your hand, all of us had to work to build wealth, build wealth and prosper. So the first thing you have to have, and this is how it's going to take me back to the communication from last week, is the very first thing you have to do is have a vision. You know, there's scripture about that. Without vision, the people will perish. You've got to have a vision. And the vision really has to be something that is clear and concise, but I'm not going to get ahead of myself. So you first develop a vision, and then you focus on that vision. You focus in on exactly what that looks like and what actions do I need to take to accomplish the vision. So then you take action. And you consistently, here's that word, consistent, because that's one of the keys to success. Consistently seek to accomplish the vision. You have to be consistent about that. That has to be your reason for getting out of bed every day. That has to be your reason for living. It has to be your reason to exist. But in that, you have to consistently seek direction from God, the will of God, and you have to consistently seek excellence. In other words, you have to continue to research and analyze things that you can do that are going to take the next step in your vision. And you have to be strategic. You have to understand the strategy necessary to keep moving forward so that you can enter into the place and space of your vision. And then commitment. You've got to make a commitment that nothing can be more important than the vision God has given you. You know, there's an adage that is used quite frequently. You got to make the main thing the main thing. You've got to be committed to it being everything that embodies you. And then you got to be disciplined. You got to have discipline in order to be a disciple. You have to be disciplined about looking at what others are doing in the same space that you're in and in the business sectors that involve your business, and you have to be disciplined about researching, analyzing, emulating, and remaining on the course every single day. That's That's what it's going to take. So yes, you can expand your investments in the stock market. You can expand into real estate. You can expand into commodities. You can expand into entrepreneurship. There's a lot of ways that you can move forward, but it's only too late when you do nothing. Today's Daily Divine Direction broadcast 3D has been brought to you by Fiji Water. A taste of paradise will be delivered right to your front door when you